that if it happened, God allowed it. And so I had to rely on my foundation of trust that I know that God is for me. God cannot befriend people who do not believe him. Okay, and say it again, I am a friend of God. That means that if I am a friend of God, he is a friend of mine. He is my friend. Jesus is my friend. Jesus is my Savior. Jesus is my Lord, but we also are friends. The text tonight suggests that you can have a friend who hurts you. Yeah. You can have a friend who hurts you. And there have been times and moments in my life that God has hurt me. Yeah, he has hurt me. I've been smitten at the hip joint like Jacob. I've left the mountain with a limp. I've gone through something that was painful and difficult to endure. That's when I had to trust him and not just believe him. Oh, come on, somebody. I had to trust him. I went through a dark place in my life. And I couldn't see my way out of it. I couldn't see how I would get out of it. But I told God, I trust you. That if you have allowed me to go through this dark place in my life, that it must be for my good. Because I know you are not against me. I know that you are for me. And even though this hurts me, faithful are the wounds of a friend. If I'm really your friend, I got to be able to tell you the truth. It may strain the relationship, but I've got to be able to tell you the truth. If I'm really your friend, I won't let you come out the house looking silly. If I'm really your friend, I'm going to tell you, I don't normally say this to you, but that don't look good on you. That's not your best look. This is not your best day. Maybe you shouldn't wear that. Now, if you override that, that's your business. But I'm going to say that if I'm really your friend. If I'm really your friend, I'm going to say you spoke out and turned to him. That wasn't his fault. That was your fault. If I'm really your friend, a friend take risk. A real friend takes risk of your scorn. And that's why you can't have a whole lot of friends. I know you think everybody who follows you on Facebook is your friend, but you can't have a lot of friends because it takes work to be a friend. It takes energy to be a friend. You have to put things on the line to be a friend. You have to get in the fight with them. And sometimes you got to argue with them. Sometimes you got to wrestle with them to get them to the place that they can see. And sometimes they get hurt and you're yelling at each other and then you're crying and you're going through all kinds of changes. For real relationship takes work. But if you're really my friend, you would never hurt me for the sake of hurting me. You might wound me to protect me. If you have a child, you might push the child out of the way and they skin their knee on the sidewalk, but you saw a car coming. I didn't push you because I'm mean. I pushed you because you're in danger. And before I let the car hit you, I'd skin your knee up. Yes, I pushed you, knocked you over. You skinned your knee, but I stopped you from something coming after you. And every now and then, in order to stop you from something that's coming after you, God will let you skin your knee. And you say, oh God, if you love me, you wouldn't push me. No, I love you so much I push you. Upstairs we were talking about the difference between incidents and outcomes. And sometimes we in the incident become so glued to the incident that we don't understand the outcome. And sometimes the incident requires that God wound us on the short term, that we can be blessed on the long term. Sometimes it's like when you go for therapy, they'll take you to a painful place that you have built walls up to avoid, because your avoidance is not healing, it's just hiding. And so when they start going to you, you say, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to think about that. I don't remember that. I put that out of my mind. No. We got to talk about that. I don't like to talk about that because it makes me cry, but it's going to be necessary to excavate the poison that's down in your spirit, that's toxic, that's making you depressed and suicidal. And so I'll wound you in this therapy so that I can heal you. Wounds and healings have something in common. So tonight we're talking about faithful wounds, and we're understanding that when God got ready to heal the world from the sin that it had ingested, that he sent his son to the cross to be wounded. We also understand that when Thomas was doubting and did not believe, it was not Jesus' presence that caused him to believe, it was Jesus' wounds that caused him to be healed. Jesus said, reach hither your hand into my side and feel the nail prints in my hands, and be not faithless but believe, for faithful are the wounds of a friend. And when Thomas felt his wounds, he fell down and said, my Lord and my God, because faithful are the wounds of a friend. Faithful wounds. And I was going through this test and I was crying out to God, and I couldn't even find faith to believe him and rebuke the devil and rebuke whatever it was, because I wasn't even sure it was the devil. I knew that if it happened, God allowed it. And so I had to rely on my foundation of trust that I know that God is for me. And so even if he wounds me, I said, I don't like this, God. I went out in the back, I told him, I don't like this, God. I don't like this at all. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like what I'm going through. I don't like being threatened. I don't like being intimidated. I don't like what's on the line. I don't like none of it. I don't like none of it. But I trust you. That's why it's important that somebody teach about trust, because we teach about praise and we teach about faith, but we don't teach about trust. I trust you that if you allow this to happen to me, it's going to come out for my good. Can I go deeper? Job understood that if God allowed his crops to burn up, his wife to abhor his breath, his finances to be disrupted, and even his children to be dead, he still believed and trusted God that at the end of it, his outcome would be better than his incident. Somebody right now is going through an incident that is quite painful, but I'm telling you that if you trust God, the outcome will be greater than the incident. So the text is saying to us tonight, faithful are the wounds of a friend, and deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. The kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Judas betrayed Jesus with there we go. He betrayed him with a kiss. So people who are carnal doesn't necessarily mean that you are sinful. It just means that you take things on a very surface level. You go by what you see. You go by how you feel. You go by what you can touch. That's carnality. Carnality, where we get carnivorous. Meat, you are controlled by the flesh senses. People who are controlled by flesh senses have a tendency to buy into kisses. But just because somebody kissed you doesn't mean you can trust them. Because deceitful are the kisses of an enemy. Judas identifies Jesus with a kiss. And so people who are carnal will cleave to Judas and say, look, oh, that's my friend, never understanding that the kiss is not the equivalent of love. Love gets tough. Love gets dirty. Love gets stressful. Love creates tension. You wrestle with somebody you love. If I don't love you, I'll ignore you. I'll go around you. I don't have to be bothered with you. I don't have time to deal with that. Get on out of my face. But when it's somebody I love, I can't go around it. I got to confront this. We got to have it out. We got to fight about this. We got to talk about this. We got to wrestle about this because I love you and I got too much invested on the line to let you go down. That's running out. You don't see much of that anymore, but real love will get its hands dirty. Anybody who says they love you will get their hands dirty before they'll let you go off a cliff. You can't say that you love me and see me destroying myself and not confront me because you're more concerned about being nice than you are about me being healed. You got to get up in my mug and say, wait a minute, you about to mess. This whole thing up. What I'm talking about is trusting God when it hurts. What do you think trust is all about? I don't need to trust him in a promotion. I need to trust him in a downturning, in a layoff, in a crisis, in a problem. I need to trust him when I don't understand his method. I trust his outcome. In the short run, I'm in pain. In the long run, my kidney no longer has cancer. In the short run, Abraham takes his son Isaac up on the mountain and offers him up.